in the interest of LaDawn Johnson. We're here today set for our status hearing. Okay, and of course, Ms. Groff is present. We've already visited on behalf of the mother. Mother's not present. And then I see that Mr. Ellis is logged in with us this morning. Then Ms. Alford, if you want to give us an update since your court report was filed, that'd be great.
Sure. LaDawn's doing great in his placement. There are absolutely no issues. He was not recommended for any ECI services or anything right now, so he's on target. Everything is great with him. He's a very happy baby. I have spoken to Mr. Ellis and Mr. Washington. I've gotten the paternity orders submitted, and Ms. Chavez stated she's just waiting to hear back on those dates for the paternity testing for both of them. But they have both been in contact with me. I did send Mr. Washington the link to the hearing yesterday, and spoke with him yesterday, so I thought he would be here, but I did also provide the family plans to both Mr. Ellis and Mr. Washington. They have not signed them yet, but we haven't really gotten to go over them together either. I have not been in contact with Miss Johnson since probably the end of April. She was in a TPC respite program there for a short bit before she went back to the pavilion. I've tried to contact them again to see if I could maybe get through to her and have not had any luck. So she has not seen her family plan at this time.
Ms. Alford, all the family plans have been filed, though, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Washington is just logging in. Man. All right, Mr. Washington. Good morning, sir. Okay, we have started this hearing already, but I will mark you present, and we've discussed that you of course wanted genetic testing, which we are already in the process of getting that underway. So just be sure you and Mr. Ellis both be sure you all show up when you get those appointments set. It's those appointments are kind of hard to come by, and if you miss them, it'll be another wait before we can get you another appointment. So just make your very best efforts to get to those appointments whenever those roll around. Okay, so the Ms. Alford was giving us an update. Child is doing well. Since Mr. Washington, you were a few minutes late. Child is doing very well in placement. Everything's going well for him. Okay, Ms. Alford, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then Ms. Groff, anything else you needed to cover today? I know it's kind of hard when you haven't had contact with her.
No, I haven't had contact with her, but I did look at the visitation plan, and given the age of the child, I would like to ask the court to order 2 visits a week for 1 hour each, because the child is so young, and he's had such sporadic contact with his mother due to, the case and what's been going on for her. However, I think the level of supervision that was proposed is absolutely appropriate. So that's what I would ask for. And obviously this visitation would not occur until she's released from the pavilion and it's determined that she's safe, even on a high supervision level.
I certainly have no problem with that once we know mom's sort of, at least she's kind of stabilized and everything. And we often will try to do 2 hours a week, with an infant. So, we're just kind of see how all this proceeds. And if we get her out of the hospital and sort of get her stabilized and she's appearing regularly for visits and all that, I don't have a problem if St. Francis can, bump those up to twice a week. Instead of 2 hours once a week. That's with an infant, I think that's sort of wasted time. So, all right, Mr. Ellis, any questions, sir, or anything you want to talk about today? And you'll have to unmute for me.
No, ma'am.
All right. You do need to get with Ms. Alford and go through, the contents of this service plan. I'm going to talk to you both about this a little bit more here in a minute, but I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions for me.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay, Mr. Washington, same with you if you'll unmute for me.
Okay.
All right, sir, anything you need to talk about or anything you need to ask me today?
Not at this time, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala, or excuse me, Ms. Sapien. I skipped over you. My apologies.
That's okay, Judge. I was just gonna let Ms. Graff and Ms. Alford know if I do hear from Mom, I'll let you know, and I just asked that you would do the same for me. And I don't have anything else, Judge.
Absolutely, Miss Sapien.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Jordan's absolutely correct. LaDon's doing really great. Looks like there's going to be a whole bunch of teeth coming in all at once. Which I would prefer them to come in at once and get that over with. But I've got no concerns about placement and how he's doing, and I do recommend that continue.
All right, thank you. All right, we wish placement the best while that's happening. Okay, all right, gentlemen, let me just address the two of you since you're here with us today. So this is a status hearing, and at our status hearings, a couple things are required to happen. I need to make sure that you all understand those family plans of service are really important. And I know you both are waiting on genetic testing, and I understand that. The issue here is, we only have so much time to start and finish this case. Generally speaking, we have to wrap everything up within 12 months. There are some circumstances, and they are typically what we call extraordinary circumstances, that give me the ability to extend the case an additional 6 months for parents to work their services. But, if you wait to start everything until you know the results of the genetic testing, you may be hard pressed to get things finished. And part of what I'm going to do today is order those service plans as an order of the court. In other words, it's going to become a court order, and like any other court order, there's consequences to not following that.
Yes.
The consequences of not completing your services are that the child might not go home to either one or both of you. And, it can also result in termination of your parental rights. So, I understand you both are in a position where we need to determine who is the father, and we will do that as quickly as you can. But that's why I come back to the importance of you all showing up at that, at those appointments for the genetic testing, because you're going to need all, I want you to have plenty of time to work services. Whichever one of you turns out to be the dad, I want you to have time to get these things done so that you've got a fair shake and a fair shot at all this. So do you both understand that?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. All right. So stay in contact with Ms. Alford. You both may have been given paperwork to apply for a court-appointed attorney. I encourage you to look at that paperwork, fill it out, turn it in to me, even though we haven't determined which of you is the father at this point. But you are entitled to legal representation. And if you don't qualify, then, you always have the right to hire an attorney. But you may wish to turn all that in and get it to me so we can look at it and see. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, then today I am going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I would find there's a continuing danger to return the child home at this time. I will continue the child's current placement. Of course, the department's going to continue to use reasonable efforts to reunify the family. And I am making those service plans in order of the court today. So I will see everybody back for our initial permanency hearing on September 23rd of 2025. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. It will be by Zoom, at least right now. We're scheduled to do that by Zoom. Hopefully by then we'll know you know, which one
Yes,
of you
ma'am.
is the father and who needs to stay in the case and who will be dismissed. Okay.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I appreciate you both very much joining us today. Thank you very much. And everybody is free to go on the Johnson matter, and we will keep moving through our docket.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Can we get some pictures to see some pictures of them? Can send some pictures for me?
Yeah, Ms. Alford can do that for you. Sure.
Okay, I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank
That was
y'all.
good.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
All righty.
Miss Katie, can you start letting people in for our next hearing? I have got to
Hey, get
return
out
a
there.
really quick phone call.
Get out of there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I guess I'm out now.
You all are free to go. Thank you.
All right.
In the interest of Maya McCarti, cause number 97419D, in the interest of Jack Stevens, and cause number 99525E, in the interest of Timothy Branning. We are here for our initial permanency hearing. In each case, we're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming. Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we will take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Ron Heredia is my permanency specialist. We're present, ready.
T.D. Hammonds for Amanda McCarti, mother of all three kids. We're ready to proceed, Judge. She's joined us.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the children.
Okay, and Mr. McCarti is present. Mr. McCarti, I want to make sure that you can hear us and we can hear you. Can you unmute for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you have video, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you turn it on for me?
Judge, it looks like the mom fell out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa.
All right, thank you, Mr. McCarty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll give her a second to try to get logged back in.
And Judge, I can just tell you, I spoke to her last night. I mean, I think you will hear that she's been cooperating, doing well. So, you know, we're pressing forward.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and let the permanency specialist start updating us.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll watch for her in the waiting room. So, all right, Mr. Heredia, can you give us an update since your court report was filed?
Yes, Your Honor. All three of the children are doing very well. Timothy, Maya, and Jax are all thriving in their current placement. They are making social connections and doing very well in a structured environment. They are also continuing to maintain and strengthen their bond with their parents. While in their placement, the children have, again, made a lot of social connections. They are also been experiencing a lot of positive things, such as life skills. They've learned how to do their laundry and maintain themselves, and doing very well. While they are very bonded with their placement, again, they are also bonded with their parents and strengthening and maintaining those bonds. The parents have both Mr. McCarti and Miss McCarti doing very well with their services. They have maintained consistent contact with myself and with the department, and doing what has been asked and required of them. Both have pretty much almost finished all of their required services. James has a few left on one that is a little bit lengthier, but both of them are doing very well. Both are having weekly visits with the children virtually. And those visits have all gone very well without any issues or any concerns. Again, both maintaining and strengthening those bonds.
Okay. And they're drug testing as we're requesting them to, and
Yes, Your Honor, there haven't been any concerns with that.
very good. All right. Have we had any contact, any progress with Mr. Stevens?
No, with Mr. Stevens, we are still in that process of contacting him. We do have an LPS worker that has gone by his residence. So we have actually pinpointed his residence to have contact with him, and are still working to try and get him a copy of his family plan of service to hopefully initiate.
Okay, but we're pretty sure that he's living there.
I think he froze right at the end.
He
yeah.
did. He did. Could be one of those days today.
It may be.
And the wind's not even blowing all that hard.
No, my
Seems like sometimes those days when the wind is howling, we have problems.
I think that was Miss Sessions trying to say something. I think she froze.
I have
All right, we got Mr. Heredia
My,
back.
yeah, the internet here at the office keeps kicking us off, so it's been doing it frequently these past couple of days. My apologies.
No problem. Okay, so we're pretty sure that Mr. Stevens lives at this residence that you're talking about?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, we'll keep trying. And then what kind of is our plan moving forward? Assuming that Mr. McCarti and Ms. McCarti both complete services over the next month or two. Is that kind of the target, what we're looking at?
Yes, Your Honor. A home study was just completed on James's parents, on Sean and Donna McCarti, and that home study has been approved. The goal and the purpose of that is to bring the children back within region into Amarillo. The grandparents are located in Amarillo. So that all three of the grandparents were willing to house all three of the children. So that would bring all three of them back in. And with that, we would establish in-person visits with Manda and with James. James would be living in the home. The visits would, of course, increase time with mom, with Manda, and eventually transition over to unsupervised visits, and with the hopes of returning the children home possibly before the start of the new school year, but in a gradual progression.
Okay. Are we talking about moving them? I mean, we're now into summer. Are we talking about getting them with grandparents here pretty soon?
Yes, Your Honor. The only delay or holdup was that the children had been enrolled in a summer camp. The children just finished school, and we were, as a department, and the parents were in agreement that, to try and give the children as many opportunities as possible, as their placement had enrolled them in a summer camp. The children had just finished swimming lessons, also, again, lots of activities and things that have been very beneficial for them, that we wanted to try and ensure that they were able to participate with that, and then with the transition to the grandparents' home afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. Swimming in camp is important in the summertime. So, okay.
One, has mom given you any other possible name on Timothy's case as who could be father? We have an unknown.
No, sir.
Okay. And today, we're just requesting that everything kind of stay as is. Department has to keep temporary managing conservatorship and placement change, stay until we can make that change to grandparents' house.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good. All right, then, Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, Judge. Amanda, you've heard the report. Do you have anything you'd like to talk to the judge about?
Oh, and you're muted, ma'am. You'll have to unmute. Okay.
No, I have nothing, no questions or anything.
Okay, you understand. You keep cooperating. You keep doing what they want you to do. Stay on the same track. You should have the kids permanently back with you, hopefully by end of August. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. And Mr. McCarti, since Mr. Morales isn't with us this morning, anything you want to talk to us about?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, sounds like everything is going exactly in the direction we want it to go. So y'all just keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I agree. This case is going like it needs to. I was able to Zoom with the kids. They've had a great placement. Camp is next week. We've talked to them about they're going to be going to James and his parents' home as the next step. They're all excited about that. Jax is pretty vocal that he wants to go to mom, and all the kids do, but I think they understand that they're working that way. And I am really impressed with both parents. I'm impressed with placement. It feels like when we end up this case, these kids are going to have a bigger support network here. Parents are working well. I feel like this is going well, and the kids are excited to be moving here closer where they can have contact with everybody. And that should happen soon. Now, I did tell them that I did not know what the timeline was in terms of moving from James's house to mom's house, and that I couldn't tell them that. But that's kind of where we're working for. So I do want to make sure that when everybody's interacting with the kids, that nobody's saying, hey, you're coming in 2 weeks, or we're getting there. I just don't want the kids confused, but I think this is working really well.
Yeah, I think, and kids, boy, they can be real direct sometimes when they ask questions. And so, you have to deflect a little bit. I mean, I don't want you lying to your children, but, and you're not lying to them if you say, I can't answer that. It's not totally up to me. But we're working really hard to make all of that happen and, get you guys back at home and, more importantly, moving forward, Ms. McCarti and Mr. McCarti, I hope that you all will, however this ends up, that you will continue to work well together, because your kids, they need you both. And, so, co-parenting, honestly, co-parenting is a whole lot easier than doing it by yourself. So, I hope that y'all will get some benefit from some of these things that we're having you do, and that even when we're gone and we're not involved anymore, that, you guys will continue to work well together. So I think, you just can't make any promises to them about the timeline, but just keep encouraging them that y'all are working hard to get there. Okay, then, I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue the children's current placement. I'd find there would be a continuing danger to return the children home today, but I also find that Ms. McCarti and Mr. McCarti are both in full compliance with their service plans, and, we're working in the right direction. Mr. Stevens is obviously not in compliance at this time. I'll approve the transition to the paternal grandparents' home as we've talked about today. And then I'll see everybody back September 23rd of 2025. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket, just like today. And we'll take a look where we're at. my hope is, you know, certainly kids are with grandparents and hopefully at home and going back and forth between mom and dad. You know, that's the goal. All right. I appreciate y'all very much. Thank you so much. And I'll see you back in September.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And,
Okay. Appreciate it.
and
Thank
Judge,
you.
on that, just for the court's information, Jared Stevens was personally served on that, so he is aware of the case. I
Right.
know I haven't had any contact with him, but he was served on this one.
Okay. All right. Well, what was, do you have that date of service?
Let me see. January 23rd.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Also,
Okay.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, also Judge and Daniel, number 7 on the docket today, the Donald Garza case, we did an agreed final. Is that removed, Daniel?
Yeah, I emailed Rachel earlier this morning on it just to see if the court had seen that order or a proposed order, and she emailed everybody back a while ago. I think you were on the email,
Okay.
TD, but you may not have seen it. It came back and said they were going to vacate. We vacate due to everybody signing the agreed order.
I got you. All right, Judge. Thanks a lot.
You betcha.
Judge, I was just getting ready to come in here and tell you that.
That's
No
fine.
pressure
I
on
knew
there.
it was rolling around out there.
Yeah, I just heard back this morning, so.
So, all right. So it's going to be completely off, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. In the interest of Oakley Miller, we're here for an initial permanency hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom and we're live streaming. And Ms. Taylor's making our record this morning. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Tessa Weston is my permanency specialist. We're present ready today, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Garth?
I didn't see Brittany. I'm sorry. Vince Nowak on behalf of Jalen Miller. Judge, I don't expect him. I haven't had contact with him in months.
Okay.
Your Honor, Meredith Graff, present for Kaylee Fletcher. I've tried numerous times to reach her on the telephone number that I have, and I've not been able to get through to her, and she has not tried to text me back when I've texted her. So I'm here, but she's not.
Bye.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Oakley.
All right, thank y'all. Okay, Ms. Weston, we're gonna look to you for the update today.
Hey, good morning. Oakley thrives in this placement with her great-grandmother. She's met all her milestones. She attends all her medical appointments. There aren't any medical concerns at this time. She is nurtured and loved by her caregivers, and she makes connections with her caregivers and the relatives that she interacts with in this home. She gets to participate in weekly outings with her caregivers, and she enjoys the time she spends with them. Obviously, she can't vocalize that as an infant, but she displays that with just her ability to show how she's happy and content and not displaying any type of distress in this home, in this placement. As far as, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
As far as the home is concerned, there is an approved home study with concerns. Kinship has a safety evaluation in place due to just some cleanup they wanting to have occur at this home. There's a developmental plan through the kinship worker to get the house cleaned up, pick up some clutter, that type of thing. Safety plan is in place for the aunt. Due to the aunt in the home having a criminal history, she just can't be the caretaker of the child. As far as the parents are concerned, there is no contact. I was about to say lack of contact, but there's zero contact. We lost contact with them back in February when they were evicted from their apartment. And since then, we have not been able to contact these parents. by phone, by text. We've tried to find them, and there's just been zero contact with them.
Ms. Weston, had any of the parents, either one of the parents, started any services or attempted to start any services at this point?
No, sir. At the very beginning of the case, Miss Fletcher did go to ChildCustody, stayed 2 weeks, and checked herself out against the recommendations of the staff there.
Okay. And they drug screened for you some at the very beginning?
At the very beginning, yes, sir, they did drug screen. They were positive. Miss Fletcher was positive January of 2025 for on a UA.
Okay.
For methamphetamines and marijuana. She was positive on a hair in January for methamphetamine and marijuana. And then we sent her again in February, and she was a no-show.
Okay.
And as far as Mr. Miller, was the same situation for him. He was positive in January for marijuana and methamphetamine. And then in February of 2025, he was positive on a UA for marijuana. He did show in February for that UA, but then when we tried to send them again in March, he and Haley both were no shows, but we hadn't had contact with them either as well.
Okay. All right. So at least the last 3 months, no contact, no drug screens, no attempts at services.
That's correct.
They're not complying with their service plan at this time.
No, sir.
I assume we sort of checked the shelters and the normal locations.
Yes, ma'am. We've checked jail rosters. We've done an accurate, all the processes that we can, and we've not been able to locate.
Okay. Does family members, placement, or anybody heard from them or know where they are?
I've checked with Carrie Miller, which is our placement, and she has not been able to. She doesn't have contact with them. Occasionally she will hear about Jalen through Jalen's father, and the only thing she knows is that they're living out of a car.
Okay. Moving forward, was the department requesting today for temporary managing conservatorship to stay with the department?
Yes, sir.
Are you also asking for an early final be set on this case at this time just due to non-compliance with parents?
Yes, sir.
And you were asking for placement to stay where it is?
Yes, sir.
And you believe all that's in the best interest of the child?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. I'll pass witness, Ms.
Ms. Brock, do you have any questions for Ms. Weston or anything to add today?
No, unfortunately, Your Honor, I have no basis to add anything. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nowak.
Just real quick, Judge. Hey, Tessa, the phone number I have for Jalen ends in 4472. Is that the same number that you have?
Yes, sir, it is.
There's a message on the voicemail, but I just can't get a hold of him. All right, I'm just double checking. Tessa, thanks, Judge. That's all I have.
All right, Ms. Bala.
Your Honor, I agree that Oakley's doing well in placement. I also agree that an early final seems appropriate. I do want to make sure that St. Francis is talking with placement about licensing either PCA or adoptive, and I think there's a lot of overlap with all of that. I really think it would be important to get that started as soon as possible. But at this point, I've got no concerns about placement. They've been very communicative with us and agree with what's being requested by St. Francis.
Okay, and you read my mind. That was my next question is, is this long-term? Is this is this potentially adoptive placement? I know, I mean, it's a great grandparent. Now, I understand, I don't know what age she is. And so, you know, I think that's kind of the penultimate question right now. I mean, we're back in that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And so I'm going to set it for an early final, but, I would kind of like to know long-term what, you know. what are we
It
looking at?
sounds like Miss Miller is willing to be long-term placement. I do agree in terms of great grandmother, and then there were some issues. So it makes the most sense to get started on that licensing right away. So if we've got issues that are coming up that we know about them, we can figure out. I do know that there's kind of an extended family that Oakley's exposed to, and maybe it can be kind of a wraparound whole family kind of thing, and not just Miss Miller on her own. But she does indicate she's willing to be long-term placement. So hopefully, as we go through the licensing process, any concerns can be addressed and addressed early enough so that we can, you know, if we get in a PCA situation or if we get in an adoptive situation, we can move forward with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna direct this to Ms. Brown as well. You know, we're obviously talking about an infant, and so, you know, that's always of concern to me that we, you know, that we're really looking for permanency, and you know, and if we don't have that where we're at right now, we need to be, you know, we need to really be talking about it.
May I say something?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. There are concerns with Miss Miller becoming licensed due to the aunt that lives in the home. She's got criminal history that will cause her to not be able to be licensed, so she would have to move her out, and also the condition of the home, which is why we're working on with her to get that straight away. But I'm not sure if she's willing to ask her granddaughter to move out of the home. But we can definitely have that conversation with her.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna have to confront these issues head on, and I think it's now, you know, I'm gonna set it for a final on that September 23rd date. That was gonna be our next review hearing, but I'm gonna set the final that day. You know, and I think they just have to understand, I mean, we are talking about a baby, and, you know, our job is to find permanency for this child, and obviously, you know, adoption achieves that, because, you know, we all know there's other things that go along with the legal adoption that in the, you know, the child becomes entitled to certain things. So, yeah, I just don't want a situation where we've got a kiddo that's going to get passed off, you know, because of health problems, or, you know, not suggesting because their failure to love and care for the child. But I mean, if if great grandmother is, you know, at an age where that's, you know, we're looking at 18 years here, you know, is it possible that we might enter a period of time where this child's a teenager, or, you know, 12 or 13-year-old, and she can no longer really provide the care? I mean, they're hard questions, and I know they're hard conversations, but I think we have to confront that now rather than later. Okay, then today I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue her placement, and find that there would be a continuing danger to return the child home to either parent at this time. Parents are not in compliance with their service plans. So I'll see everybody back on September 23rd of 2025 on a 9 o'clock docket, and we'll set that final. Ms. Katie, does it look like we can set it that morning, or do we need to shift it to the afternoon, or?
Judge, it looks like that docket's pretty light that morning.
Okay.
So I think it'll be okay on the morning docket.
Okay, all right, so we'll leave it on the 9 o'clock docket. and I'll see y'all back then.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. I'm not back with the court until 1:30, so with your permission, I will exit the meeting and Zoom back in around 1:15.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This is in the interest of Emelina Elazarz. We are here for our final today. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record for us this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present ready, Your Honor.
Lori Lucero standing in for Kendra and Uncle, Your Honor. She represents the mother, Kimberly Sesteta. I don't expect Ms. Sesteta here today. Kendra advises that she has had no contact with her.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Emelina.
Okay, and Charles Goody, who was determined by genetic testing to be the father of the child, is not present. I don't have anybody else in my waiting room. Mr. Goody never did request counsel, fill out any paperwork. Hold on, looking back, I'm not sure he's ever even appeared, but double checking that. I don't think he's ever personally appeared at any of our hearings. What was the status of service on Mr. Goody?
Your Honor, he is, sorry, let me grab my file real quick.
He's an alleged father.
He's an alleged, Your Honor. He was personally served on March 4th of 2025.
Okay.
Mr. Goody's, he also filled out and signed a affidavit of relinquishment, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Judge, just one thing, I think you stated he was determined to be the father by genetic testing. I don't think we ever tested him. Christopher Sesteta and mom are still legally married, so we ruled him out. Let me make sure I'm correct on that, but I know we non-suited Christopher Sesteta due to
we did. I just had a note that we'd gotten genetic testing back on Mr. Goody and he's the dad, so we were dismissing Mr. Sesteta. But then he relinquished, but perhaps my note was wrong.
Let's see here. Yeah, we did a DNA test that the results came back March 5th of 2025, and that was between the child and Christopher Sesteta.
All right. Perhaps my notes, I meant Mr. Sesteta and not Mr. Goody. So, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to make a correction here.
I believe about the time we got the DNA test back on Mr. Sesteta, we found Mr. Goody in the, or Gowdy in the jail and was able to get him served.
Okay. All right. Okay. You ready to go?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Then you can call your first witness.
Call Melissa Ponce, Your Honor.
All right. Ponce, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Melissa, would you state your name for the record, please?
Melissa Ponce.
And Ms. Ponce, how are you employed?
I am a children's protective investigator.
And are you familiar with the case we're here on today involving the child, Emelina Elazarz?
Yes, sir.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I was the initial investigator on the case.
How did the department become involved in this case?
On October the 2nd, 2024, I had received an intake regarding the neglectful supervision of the child by the mother, Kimberly Sesteta. This report stated that the mother had tested positive for meth and marijuana at the time of birth of the child.
And were you able to meet with the mother?
I did meet with the mother at the hospital, and she admitted to using marijuana on September the 30th, 2024. She didn't admit to using the meth, but then later on made a statement saying that she was stupid for using meth. She never admitted to the meth use.
Okay.
Even though she was positive.
Yes, ma'am. And was anybody else with mother when you met with her?
Yes, sir. The Charles Goody was also present at the time of the visit.
Okay. Did they state at that time whether they thought he was or was not the father?
The mother stated that he was the father.
Okay. Mother was also legally married at the time that you investigated, correct?
Yes, sir, to Christopher.
Okay. So in this case, when we start out, we had a presumed father due to the marriage and a alleged father due to parents, mother and the alleged father stating he was the father.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How else did you attempt to do any type of service safety plans or work with the parents to prevent the removal? Or what was the situation there?
Yes, sir. I'd asked for other possible other placement family members. At the time, neither one of them had anybody that would be willing to be placement for the child. They had wanted this child to go, I guess, with the foster parents that previously had their two other children that are in foster care. But as far as family members or anybody else to take the this child, there was not any. I also contacted the maternal grandfather that has Kimberly's two other children, and he was not able to be placement for this child due to raising those two other children.
Okay. And you've mentioned a number of kids here. Total, how many children has mother had?
She has had 5 children. Four of the 5 were already placed outside her home.
Okay.
Foster care.
So mother has extensive CPS history?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of her most recent cases, is that the placement where she was asking for Emelina to be placed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you remember that child's name?
The 2 children that were placed there, I
Yes, ma'am.
believe it was Zayden and Broly.
Okay. And Zayden's case had recently wrapped up before this removal happened. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know the outcome of that case?
I believe the mother and father relinquished rights.
Okay. But their rights were terminated?
Yes.
Do you have what I sent out at the exhibits?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you look at exhibit number 1 for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what that exhibit is?
It's an order of termination.
Okay. And is that in regards to the child Zayden Elazarz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me the date on that, of that hearing?
April the 11th, 2024.
Okay. And you were working on this case in October of 24, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So at about 6 months after the termination of this on parental rights on this child, we were working on a removal for Emelina, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 1. It's a certified copy of the order of termination of mother's parental rights on a previous child.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm going to object just to relevancy. This case the order was entered back in April of 24, and the child that we're here about today wasn't born till October of 2024.
Okay, I'll overrule the objection. I think it's being offered for one of the. I mean, Mr. Trout,
it'll be offered, Your Honor, as one of the grounds for termination is for the reasons of mom's termination in this order.
That's what I was looking through. So I mean, yeah, if it's being offered to show that there was prior D&E grounds.
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, then I'll overrule the objection and the petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ponce, could you look at page 3 of that order of termination for me?
Yes, sir.
And at the top, 7.2.1.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what that states?
It says that knowingly or placed or knowingly allowed the child to remain in conditions or surroundings with endanger to the physical or emotional well-being of the child.
And that's pursuant to?
Yes.
Can you tell me what section?
It's 161.001 B1D of the Texas Family Code.
Okay. And the next section, 7.2.2. Could you tell me what that paragraph says?
Engage in conduct or knowingly place the child with persons who engage in conduct which endangers the physical or emotional well-being of the child, pursuant to 161.001 B1E Texas Family Code.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ponce, after you had these conversations, you asked for removal of the child, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the removal was granted?
Yes, sir.
Where was the child placed?
The child was initially placed in the hospital whenever we asked for the removal.
Okay. How long was the child in the hospital?
She was in the hospital, give or take about 10 days.
Okay. Was she receiving treatment?
Yeah, she was receiving IV antibiotics.
Okay. And then where was the child placed once that treatment was over with?
She was placed with her two other half siblings.
Okay.
Or I mean, not half, her two biological siblings, sorry.
Okay. And have those two siblings, have they been adopted?
Yes.
Okay. After that, did you have any more contact with the parents?
No, I did not.
When was the last time you saw the parents?
The day that I initiated the case on October the 3rd, 2024 was the last time I saw Charles Goody. And then I made contact with the mother on October the 10th, 2024 at her mother's house to go over the removal paperwork.
Okay. And were you able to sit down with her and go over that paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was she understanding of what was going on?
Yes, sir.
Did she have any questions for you at that time?
No, sir.
Okay. Did she tell you where you may find Mr. Gowdy?
She did. She gave me an estimate that he usually, hangs out about 3rd and McMaster's or Toot and Totem in that area.
Okay. Did you attempt to locate him in that area?
Yes, sir. I made several attempts to locate him, not only there, but also the Guyon Sanders Center.
Okay. And was he ever located at either one of those spots?
No, sir.
Have you ever received any phone call, text, emails from him?
No, sir.
And did you, after that day of meeting with the mother, did you ever receive any correspondence from her in any manner?
No, sir.
Due to what you have testified to, the CPS history, the child mother being positive at birth, do you believe that it was in the best interest of the child to remove?
Yes, sir.
Where were parents living at the time?
The mother was living with her mother, is my understanding, and then Mr. Charles Goody was homeless.
Okay. Do you know whether mother is still living with her mother?
I do not.
Okay. And you haven't been a part on this case since the removal and after the adversary hearing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But at the time, the circumstances you do believe, required removal for the safety of the child?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor, I don't have any questions, for Ms. Ponce.
Okay, Ms. Zavala?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, counsel, is Ms. Ponce free to go about her day?
I have no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Ponce, thank you for logging in. We appreciate your time. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you can call your next witness.
Call Shay Cairns, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cairns. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cairns, would you state your name for the record, please?
Jay Cairns.
Ms. Cairns, how are you employed?
I'm a permanency specialist with St. Francis.
And are you familiar with the case we are here on today?
I am.
And how are you familiar with Emelina's case?
I've been the permanency specialist on it since the beginning.
Okay. And have you ever worked with parents before?
I have.
Okay. Did you work on the prior case with the parents?
I did.
Okay. Were you able to make, in working this case, have you been able to make contact with the parents?
I met with Charles at the jail.
Okay. And when was that?
Let me look at the date that he signed that paperwork. I apologize.
Good.
Just for clarification, it was at Potter County Jail, correct?
Yes. It was the 12th of March.
Okay. And you had previously met with the presumed father, Christopher Stater, correct?
Yes.
And he was ruled out by paternity test.
He was.
Okay. Did you have, when you met with Mr. Gowdy, did you have a conversation about whether he thought he was the father?
I did.
Okay. And did he say he thought he was?
Yes.
Okay. And you stated that that was at the same day that he filled out an affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have in front of you exhibit number 3?
I do.
Okay. And do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is that document?
That is a relinquishment, a voluntary relinquishment of parental rights.
Okay. And is that for Charles Gowdy in reference to the child, Emelina Elazarz?
It is.
And did Mr. Gowdy sign that document?
He did.
Were there 2 witnesses to that document?
Yes, sir.
Was it notarized?
It was.
Has the department consented to being the designated managing conservator of the child?
Yes.
And was that filed with the court on March 13th of 2025?
It was.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 3 is the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment that Ms. Cairns just testified to.
Any
No
objection?
objection. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 3 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cairns, as to Charles Gowdy, are you asking the court today to adjudicate him the father of Emelina based upon his affidavit of voluntary relinquishment?
Yes, sir.
And are you also asking for the court to terminate his parental rights based solely upon his affidavit of voluntary relinquishment?
Yes, sir.
And would waive all other grounds outside of the relinquishment?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
I do.
Now, as to the mother, have you had any contact with Kimberly Sesteta?
She sent me a random text message. I believe it was in December, but it was just I'm going to work services, no contact after that, even after I text right back.
Okay.
I tried to locate her, but no luck.
Tell us what steps you've gone through to try to locate Kimberly.
I went by her mother's home several times. I looked at the address that Charles gave me on Kentucky Street. Nobody was there. And then I've checked at the Guyon Sanders. And then there was another Faith City Mission, I believe. I went by everywhere that I could find to locate her.
Have you been in contact with her mother?
No.
Okay. And you heard Mr. Ponce state that said that she was living with her mother. Had you ever heard from her, or were you aware that that's where she was supposedly staying?
Yes, I knew that she was supposedly staying there, but I hadn't talked to her mom since the last case.
Did you run any searches, accurate searches or anything to try to locate an address for her?
Yes, and that's the one that showed up. And I actually tried to reach her on Facebook as well.
Okay. But since December, the numbers and addresses you have not panned out as far as locating mom.
No, sir.
Okay. And outside of that one message, you have not received any other messages from her?
I have not.
Okay. Do you recognize exhibit number 2?
Let me pull it up real quick. Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me what that is?
The family plan of service.
And can you tell me can you tell me what a family plan of service is?
It's a plan put together to mitigate the reasons for removal and try to get the children back home.
Okay. And exhibit number 2 is a family plan of service for mom, Kimberly Sesteta?
Yes, sir.
And is this a family plan of service that you drafted?
It is.
Okay. And did you file this with the court?
Yes, sir.
Was it filed on November 12th of 2024?
It was.
Was this family plan of service made in order of the court?
Yes.
Have you attempted to send this or email or get this to mom?
Yes, I tried to drop it off, but as I said, I wasn't able to contact her.
Okay. Has mom reached out to you about, you stated that her message said she was willing to work services, is that correct?
Yes, and that's all it was.
Okay. Has mom reached back out asking for her family plan and what services she needs to work?
No, she has not.
Has mom initiated any of these services?
She has not.
Has she tried to find out what services that she needs to initiate?
No.
Okay. So throughout this case, mom has been non-compliant with her family plan of service.
Yes, sir.
Has mom reached out to ask about visitations with the child?
No.
Okay. And how old is Emelina?
She is 7 months.
Okay. So we've been in this, is this case been open for longer than 6 months?
Yes.
Has mom had any visits with the child?
No, she has not.
Do you know if mom is able to provide shelter and necessities for the child?
No.
Is she able to provide, in your opinion, is she able to provide an adequate shelter for the child?
No, she's not.
And has any family members outside of her placement, has any other family members reached out wanting to be placement or visitations with the child?
Grandfather would have loved to, but he couldn't. He has 2 other siblings.
Okay. And those are also Kimberly's children that her grandfather has?
Yes.
Okay. Are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of the mother, Kimberly Sesteta, as to the child, Emelina, based upon her failure to work services?
Yes, sir.
Constructive abandonment.
Yes, sir.
The M grounds for prior order of termination with the D&E grounds.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights at this time?
Yes, sir.
Is placement, I know they've adopted 2 siblings.
Yes, they have.
Are they long-term placement for this child also?
They are.
And they are willing to adopt this child when and if a child's available to be adopted?
They are.
How's the child doing in the placement?
She's doing really well. She's bonded with her biological siblings and her foster sibling. She knows only them. And she does get to see her other siblings as well, like on holidays and such. She's doing great. She's thriving.
Are there any concerns with the child? Medical wise or anything?
No.
Seems to be on target, hitting all our milestones.
Oh, yes, she's on target, and the medication did work as it's supposed to.
Okay. So right now she is a thriving, healthy young baby in a good home.
She is.
And the department's recommendation today is that she be allowed to stay there and for parental rights to be terminated.
Yes, sir.
And that's in her best interest.
It is.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor. Ms. Cairns, you stated that, well, you heard the investigator state that there were times that Ms. Sesteda was living with her mother. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you stated you'd been to that home in the last case or a prior case. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how often did you go out to her mom's home to see if maybe you could, Ms. Sesteda was there?
Once to twice a month.
Okay. And every time you went, did anybody answer the door, or there was no answer, or what happened there?
No, nobody answered. Like I said in the past, she didn't really want to talk to me. The mom didn't. Yeah, and I left my card and stuff. So I just never received anything.
Okay. And as far as you said you made efforts on Facebook, did you just search for her? Did you try to message her on Facebook, or how did that work?
She had actually reached out to foster parents. So I had a Facebook profile that she would use. I mean, she had like 5, so I just messaged all of them. No response back.
Okay. And when she reached out to foster parents, did she provide any kind of contact information to them that that you're aware of?
No, they provided my information to her, and that was it.
Okay. And as I guess 2 of the kids are with the grandfather, is that correct?
Yes, the older 2.
Okay. And did you discuss with him whether or not he had contact with Miss Sesteda?
He told me he hasn't talked to her in a while. He doesn't really care for her lifestyle.
So at this time, your testimony is you don't know where she's living and don't know if she's possibly homeless. Is that correct?
I don't.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further of this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Lucero or Ms. Zavala, anything else you want to ask Ms. Cairns?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, then. Okay, Mr. Trout, any more witnesses, or does the department rest?
One thing, Your Honor, and I'm not sure that I asked, did I ask to admit exhibit number 2, the family plan of service that Ms. Cairns testified to? If not, I would ask to admit that as an exhibit 2.
I don't believe so. I think you talked about it and everything, but I don't think we ever got to that. So
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. I would ask to admit exhibit number 2 as an exhibit, Your Honor.
All right. Any objection, counsel?
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 2 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Department would rest, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lucero, anything to offer today? Any witnesses to call?
No witnesses, Your Honor, nothing to offer to the court. Just to reiterate that Ms. Naranjo said that she tried also to locate her and, but she has had no contact with Mrs. Stata.
All right, thank you very much. And again, thank you for filling in for Ms. Naranjo today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Zavala. Any witnesses to call?
No witnesses, Your Honor, I rest.
Okay, you have a recommendation for the court.
I do, Your Honor. It is in Emelina's best interest for the parental rights to be terminated today. She's in a wonderful home. She's with her brothers. She has regular contact with extended family. I couldn't wish for a better adoptive home for her. And I do believe all of that is in her best interest.
All right, thank you, Ms. Zavala. All right, at this time, then I will adjudicate Charles, I guess it's Gowdy. I may have been saying it wrong all this time. I'm very sorry. Charles Gowdy as the father of the child, Emelina Elazarz, and establish the parent-child relationship between them. I do find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of Emelina Elazarz to terminate the parental rights between Mr. Gowdy and the child based on his voluntary affidavit of relinquishment of parental rights under Texas Family Code 161.001, subsection B1K, and the best interest under Texas Family Code 161.002B2. I find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of Emelina Elazarz to terminate the parental rights between the child and her mother, Kimberly Sestacia, based on Texas Family Code 161.001, subsection B1, the DE, N, and O grounds, and the best interest of the child under 161.001B2. At this time, I'll name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the permanent managing conservator of Emelina. I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys after the appropriate de novo and appellate timeframes expire, with the exception of Ms. Zavala, who will remain as the child's attorney and guardian ad litem. Counsel, as always, be mindful of the de novo timeframe since I've rendered in open court, and also please don't file any notice of appeal if you're instructed to do so until a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. All right, I appreciate it very much. Thank y'all. And for those still involved, our next review hearing will be August 14th of 2025. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Ms. Lucero, if you wouldn't mind to just make sure Ms. Naranjo is aware of that date.
I'm sorry, my pen messed up. Could you give me that date again? You said August?
Sure, 14th.
Okay.
And that's on a 9 o'clock docket.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, just so I have my, could you tell me the grounds again on mom?
DE, N, and O.
Okay. Ruling on the M grounds as far as prior D and E.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. Yes, I have it in one place and I didn't put it in the other. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Also the M grounds,
Okay.
Based on the petitioner's exhibit that was admitted in the testimony that was offered. I'm very sorry. I didn't copy it over to a different place.
That's all right. I wasn't sure if I missed it when you said it, John.
Well, I did not say it, so thank you. I had it in a different place, but didn't get it in my ruling. So yes,
Okay.
the M grounds were granted.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank y'all very much, and y'all have a good rest of your day. Unless you're still stuck with me.
We're still here with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm on the 11 o'clock case with Robertson. And I'm going to stay on, but if I was going to ask Rachel if she pops on, could we have a breakout room before we get started?
Yeah, sure. I don't have her in the waiting room right now, but I will obviously keep my eyes open. We got a couple minutes so everybody can take a little break. And I've got Ms. Lambright and Ms. Weston in the waiting room. I assume they're both here for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and bring them in. And then Ms. Lucero, I'll be watching for her.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Zavala, are you expecting any of your clients?
I am not, Your Honor.
All right. Okay.
Now, it is possible that they could be present when mom logs in.
Yeah.
So we won't know until they get here.
Okay, we'll cover those bases when we get there. All right, so we've got just about 7 minutes till we will call the Robertson Ramos case, and so we'll give everybody a quick break.
Your Honor, can I meet with my clients, please?
You certainly may.
Thank you. Judge, we are back in.
I'm gonna go ahead and call cause number 78157D in the interest of Nayeli Robertson. And cause number 98521D in the interest of Angel Ramos. We are here today set for our final trial in both of these cases. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready on.
Lauren Lucero on behalf of the mother, Jessica Robertson, Your Honor, we're present, ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the children.
Melissa Limas with CASA.
Okay, thank y'all. All right, Mr. Trout, I know we had a bench conference and what's the final word on this?
So, Your Honor, due to the conversation in the bench conference between the parties and sharing of information with the court of what's going on and where concerns are, after that meeting, the department will dismiss out on Angel Ramos's case. And then as far as Nayeli Roberson's case, we would non-suit on that case. There are prior orders in that case, and so we would non-suit out and let those prior orders go back into effect as to Nayeli. We're electing not to. I know Dad in that case, who's under prior orders, signed and we filed a relinquishment on. We're electing not to prove that relinquishment up based upon best interest of the child. Since the child is going back to mother, we don't want to pull the option of the child support out from under mom on that in that case. So we would just non-suit out and let prior orders go back into effect as to Nayeli.
All right, and I would just request, obviously, that Mr. Harwood be kept in the loop and noted of the final disposition so that his client knows.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me just ask Ms. Lucero, I assume this is all right with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. Thank you.
Okay, and I don't have either, of course, Mr. Garcia or Mr. Harwood here, or Mr. Ramos here. But Ms. Zavala, what's your position?
Mine would be the same.
All right, and CASA have anything?
No, Your Honor. I mean, we've seen the kids, they're happy to be home, and are healthy. As everyone has stated, we are hesitantly in agreement, but we are in agreement.
Okay, Ms. Robertson, time for you and me to talk.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I think Ms. Lemus said it best, hesitatingly. You know, we seem to be circling around and around, kind of same issues, similar issues. But I'm going to talk to you about one specific issue today, and that is this school attendance thing. It is your job to get your children to school. I don't know what's going on there, but particularly with Angel at his age, you know, you should have full control over whether or not he is in his chair at school 5 days a week. So, what's up with that? Why is On Hill not getting to school?
There were certain issues with a wreck and being sick.
Well, it's a lot of days. And my understanding is there was discussion that he might even have to repeat the first grade. But, all I can say to you about that is, you're kind of now on everybody's radar. I mean, you've got your probation to deal with, so, that's a big watchdog, and it's one of the reasons why I'm inclined to cut you loose from us, because you do have somebody else out there watching you. But when it comes to the day-to-day parenting, that's not probation's deal. And if he starts missing a bunch of school again this coming fall, somebody at the school is going to be making a phone call. And do you know who that phone call is going to be to?
CPS again.
Yeah, it's going to be to us. And we're going to be right back here, right back involved. If I get an affidavit that says in the first 90 days of school, the child has missed 55. I can tell you, absent a serious medical condition of the child, that's a removal I'm going to sign all day long. Because, at age 7, you are making a decision for that child that's going to affect him the rest of his life. And the further behind he gets in school at this age, the harder it is for him to ever get caught up and stay on grade level. And do you know what the statistics are about kids when they fall a grade or 2 behind their grade level? Do you know what the odds are of them graduating?
None.
It's very low. Each year they get behind, it's just exponentially a lower and lower percentage. Because, let's face it, what 20-year-old wants to be sitting there with a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds? They don't. And the fact of the matter is they won't. So, he is in your hands now. And you have got to get him to school. I wish you could get Nayeli to school too. Don't take it that I'm excluding her from this conversation. I'm not. It's just, I understand it's a different battle getting a 16-year-old to school than it is a 7-year-old. And it shouldn't even be a battle with the 7-year-old. Most 7-year-olds still like school and look forward to going to school because they see their friends and they still have fun and they still are enjoying learning. I mean, and that's what you want to instill in him right now. The joy of school and the joy of learning and the joy of becoming something. And you're taking that away from him when you don't get him there. And he's had way more absences than, what I know about illness or anything like that. It's just clear to me that there are times where you're just not getting him there. So I'm going to cut you loose from all this, but I'm just giving you a heads up, fair warning. If this continues, we're going to be right back here. And at a point, my job is to look out for the future of that child. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to trust that you're going to make a real concerted effort come August, and that he is going to be at school unless he is really sick. That a deal?
Yes.
All right, then. I will do as everybody has agreed and requested, and I think we're going to dismiss on his case for a non-suit on Nayeli's. And you will be done with us as soon as I sign that. So I wish you best of luck. I hate for my parting words to you to be that tone, but we don't want to see you back here. We don't want you to be in that revolving door. So you gotta do what you gotta do to get the kids to school. Okay. All right, thank you all very much, and I'll sign the orders when I get them.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, cancel. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge.
And be sure, really, this only applies to Ms. Lucero, but be sure you submit it as a final.
Okay.
This will be the final order.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Judge.
Judge.
Your Honor,
Okay.
you have a great day.